Okay, so we'll start. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. So my name is Ben Samuels. Up until recently, I was Chief Revenue Officer at WeWork. So I spent 7.5 years at WeWork, which was a really interesting and amazing journey. And more recently, I just took on a role of Chief Revenue Officer at a AI startup, Scale Up, which I think is incredible. And I'll tell you the story. So I think the format today, it's meant to be a masterclass. I don't know what that really means, but we'll just navigate it together. And I really do want to make this interactive, and I hope you find it interesting. So the plan for this morning will be the first part, maybe sort of 10, 15 minutes, will be about navigating change in the workplace as a leader. So as you'll see, I'll talk a little bit about the WeWork journey and the WeWork story, because it is a masterclass in how to navigate unbelievable change that happens all at once very quickly and is incredibly seismic and big in nature. That whole experience, I think, while it's incredible, I think there are a lot of lessons learned, and we'll hopefully talk about that. It was also a very analog experience. It was a very big team that, in terms of navigating change, meant turning the Titanic, a large sales team, global sales team, and as change came up and we made choices, the execution was quite analog. It was quite old school. Fast forwarding into how tech can enable sales teams, I came across this company, OneMind, at a conference, and they were pitching to me to buy at WeWork. And I thought of all the technology I saw in the world up until now, this was the one piece of technology I wanted to buy for my sales team and for my organization. WeWork at the time, 600 people globally within the revenue org, marketing, sales ops, salespeople, 30 countries, $3 billion of revenue. So it's a big business. And I realized if we were really going to change and adapt, bringing AI was important, but what AI? And this is what I will talk about, OneMind. And we'll do a really fun demo where you'll see the AI live and in action. And you can you can ask questions and we can chat to her in a very interactive way. So I hope that makes sense. If there's anything else people want to cover or they thought they were coming to a different meeting, let me know and we can pivot. It's a small room, as I said, so I'm sure we can go through this relatively quickly. So I'm going to start a little bit on the WeWork journey. Good morning, welcome. So the first part of the WeWork journey and sort of the lessons learned there and the sort of challenges we went through as a leadership team. And I'm lucky enough to have a couple of incredible WeWork people in the audience, leaders, and some of the best producers we've ever seen. So thank you for joining this morning. This is not going to be a tell-all about WeWork. I think there have been enough documentaries, enough Apple series, enough articles written about WeWork that you're not going to get any of that really from me. What I really want to talk about is how, as a team, we were building a world-class company in an incredibly dynamic space and the challenges we had there. So let me jump into that a little bit so you understand the context. So when we look down this side here, what I'm trying to detail is we went through 6 very big phases in 7 years. Most people in companies probably don't go through a seismic change, a really huge change, maybe once in their careers or once in a business cycle. We went through 6 of them in 7 years. And each one of these, I'm just going to tell you, is a seismic shift in strategy. It's not just a tweak, we're going to launch a new product. This was completely shifting the way the business was run almost overnight for a variety of reasons. So there was hypergrowth, which many of you read about, I'm sure, and saw in the Apple series, into a failed IPO, into COVID, which I don't think you can imagine worse sectors to be in COVID than office space when the government says you have to work from home. Maybe cruise ships and airlines, but it's one of the worst. Post-COVID growth and a successful IPO, so that was another journey, into Chapter 11, complete restructuring of the business, and post-Chapter 11. Now, in the time we have, I'm not going to go through all 6 of them. I've just picked a couple. But I've tried to keep a structure to say, okay, what were we thinking about and how to prioritize different things during these periods. So there was goals and commissions. How do we incentivize our sales team, communication, team structure, recruitment, and innovation? And so I'll just kind of reorder all of those depending on the phase. So let's just look at what WeWork is so people know. If you don't know WeWork, it's a global office space, flex office provider. In the revenue org, we have about 500 people, 23 countries today, although with franchise, probably more like 30 countries, 72 cities, 350 locations, 500,000 members, 24 million square feet of office space that we own and control. I say we, I left a month ago, but 45 million when you include our franchises. And I think, we peaked at about $4 billion of revenue. So it's a really big company. The way we're set up, just so people understand the context, is we have a top of the funnel function, how we get leads and deals through the door. We have marketing, brokers, and accounts, and then we also have consumer. Then we execute consumer, SMB, and enterprise, and then account management. So if you just think about the opportunity, right? What was the opportunity back in 2017 when I joined? The opportunity was one of the biggest in the world. It was to create a category that didn't exist in one of the world's biggest asset classes, office space, which is trillions of dollars. 1 billion people worked in office before COVID, and still probably at numbers not that far off. So it's very, very relevant. And when you look at any P&L of any company, the number one and number two cost items in a P&L are, number one, your employees, and then number two, your office space. So the C-suite cares about this. Your CEO, your CFO, they care a hell of a lot about office. There was an opportunity created by Adam Newman to redefine and reshape one of the world's biggest asset classes and build a brand and build a category, which I thought was just an incredible mission. It was very traditional, needed to be disrupted. They were coming with innovative products and an incredibly well-funded organization. I'm sure if you don't know, I think up until SpaceX and OpenAI, WeWork could probably raise the most private capital of any company in history. So $23 billion of private capital went into this, $23 billion. A lot of that was equity, and some of it was debt. And an unbelievable, charismatic CEO. So big formula for growth. So we talk about hypergrowth, and people throw that term around, big growth, hypergrowth. There are very few companies in the world that have ever experienced hypergrowth the way WeWork did. And I'll just try to illustrate this in this graph here, which is the amount of square feet that WeWork had under lease, right? So if you go back to 2010, it's about 85,000 square feet. So it was like 1 or 2 leases in New York City. Fast forward to when they raised the first big rounds of money from SoftBank, and suddenly we are going up to 6 million, then 11 million, and then 45 million square feet. All that done in a couple of years. That growth rate is outrageous. We doubled revenue every single year for 10 years. So even when we got to $1 billion, it doubled to 2 billion. And we got to 2 billion, it doubled the next year to 4 billion off a high base. So people talk about 200% growth, 100% growth off 10 million, 20 million. Get to 2 billion, it's hard to get to 4, but there's a company that did it. It went from obscurity to being the biggest leaseholder of real estate in almost every major city in the world. So New York City, Boston, Washington, D.C., London. Didn't quite get there in Paris, but not far off, and became very global very, very quickly. So memberships grew 4x in a period of 2017 to 2019, 2 years. I started around 2017. I'm not going to take credit for all the growth. The revenue run rate went from 800 million to 3.5 billion. Enterprise members, which was really my focus when I came in, grew tenfold. So that's how we dealt with, and I'm sure we can talk about lots of the French names, but Goldman Sachs, HSBC, Google, Amazon, Meta, all became massive clients of ours. That was a business that they hadn't looked at. They were a B2C company and grew 10x. The backlog of committed revenue, so when we started going after enterprise and going after lots of big French companies, French government, the backlog of committed revenue visibility was 200 million. Within 2 years, we had a revenue backlog of 4 billion. So that was a 20x increase in signed committed revenue. It's amazing. Number of cities, number of employees went up 10x, went from 1.5 thousand to 15,000 in a matter of 2 years. So what mattered at the time? Recruiting. Recruiting was the only thing that the company wanted to do. We needed more bodies. Right or wrong, the strategy was just recruit. And I think we onboarded 200 to 300 people a week. Innovation was interesting and important. We were doing flex deals in a traditional office space market that hadn't been disrupted ever. Team structure, I'd say we probably didn't get that incredibly right. We hired a lot of SaaS sellers and account-based sellers who I think weren't really ready for the kinds of deals we were doing. Goals and commissions, it was chaos. We incentivized on all the wrong things. And then communication, there wasn't really much on communication. It was very unstructured, and it was a rocket ship, and everyone just had to figure it out. So that's kind of how it looked going into hypergrowth. So we fast forward to, imagine a team that grew from 1,000 people to almost 20,000 at this point. Good morning. whose only mission was to close deals. Do as many deals as you can, as quickly as you can. It's all about momentum. And think about that backlog, 200 million to 4 billion. That's what we created in revenue. Suddenly, overnight, it just stops. We hit COVID. You have a team whose only mission is to grow and close deals, to suddenly saying, how do we close deals? And there are thousands of them now. So tours, people come in to tour an office before they buy it, they fell 90% pretty much overnight when the government said you can't leave your house, right? Key card swipes, people tapping into our buildings, unless you were an emergency worker or a critical worker, people just didn't come. So we had to pivot in real time from one of the greatest selling engines in the world to how do we just keep our members from leaving? And that's a completely different dynamic about how you manage a team and how you speak to people. So it went from us negotiating deals to us trying to figure out how people don't leave. And there were a lot of people whose businesses were on the line. If we made them pay their rent through the period of time, they were going out of businesses. And the calls were tearful. My family, we're gonna be on the street, I'm gonna lose my house, you can't make me pay. Here's the problem. WeWork can't underwrite COVID crisis for the entire world. Our landlords are expecting us to pay rent. They're expecting us to make whole on our obligations, and we don't have unlimited money. So it was really, really tricky. So we suddenly had to have daily stand-ups, and we appointed a crisis manager, leader, who happens to be in the room with us right now, called Layla one morning and said, it's chaos. I just need you to lead a structured way that we manage and deal with this. Go from managing all your big clients to figuring out how we just keep people from leaving and canceling their contracts. So we had to be really, really innovative in how we restructured people's contracts. How did we keep them from leaving? How did we help them through a difficult crisis that wasn't ours in the making? So we had to innovate really, really quickly in how we spoke to clients, how we restructured contracts, which we never really had to do, and how we get that all approved in real time. So we had something that today still stands, which we call Deal Desk, which was getting every stakeholder together, CFO, often CEO, tech, legal, everyone to come together and say, here are the 10 contracts today we have to talk about, and we have to make a decision today. And we had to pivot that in real time. So it was a massive change in strategy. So when we think about what those 5 pillars of how we focused, so we had innovation, absolutely top of the pack now. We had to innovate in real time how we were going to keep and restructure contracts and offer a product that people actually needed and wanted in this environment. Communication went from never speaking to each other, just closing deals, to actually speaking 10 times a day to figure this out together. Goals and commissions, we used to goal people on lofty revenue goals, and now we had to focus on retention. Team structure, it was a bit chaotic. Recruitment, obviously we weren't recruiting because we were in the middle of COVID. So that's how we reoriented the whole organization, going from absolute 1,000,000 miles an hour momentum to stop, we have to save the business. Good news is, as we came out of COVID, rates were at 0 and VCs were flush with cash. So coming out of COVID, we pivoted back to unbelievable growth again because the birth of the unicorns was our perfect target market. So now we are, and again, I'll point out Layla, you'll see her on video maybe, we pivoted to BD. We have to go after clients who are getting money. And what was amazing, if you look at this, 60% of all unicorns born in that period of time, actually ever, were WeWork members. We realized this was our target market. So we go from retention, holding it down, not letting people leave, to being on the front foot to say, we're going after new business because this growth of VC-funded companies absolutely needs to be in WeWork. And it was probably our most successful strategy ever. So if you think about the top 10 funding rounds of fintech companies in 21 and 22, all of them were WeWork members. Every single one of them found a home and found at their core real estate strategy, WeWork. And if you look, and I'll just point out Quanto, which is clearly on the list. Quanto's HQ, you may or may not know, sits in a WeWork. And if you ever want to look up the video online of the wonderful team of Quanto, they talk all about how WeWork transformed their entire workplace strategy, their HQ, and their work dynamic. Because of what we were doing, they do incredible work on the banking and finance side. They realized we do office way better. And that was the same with Klarna, the same with Revolut, and the same with so many companies who said, you know what, I don't want to be in the real estate business. You do it better. It's yours. And so this was a massive pivot for us and a really successful strategy. Okay, so post-COVID, growth is happening. We're excited. Everyone's coming back to the office, and we're just absolutely smashing it all over again. So the innovation was business development. We now went on the front foot and went after companies we knew that we could target. We launched new products, including Access and Workplace, which are digital products, which suited those companies incredibly well. So now what changes in those 5 pillars as we enter a new period of growth? Innovation, absolutely. The All Access product, the Workplace product, executive alignment, getting CEOs on all sides aligned to talk about the relationship. Team structure, we built new teams on the digital side, which really helped us accelerate that business. The goals and commissions were aligned. Recruiting was happening, the right kinds of sellers for this environment, and communication was important and was going well, but we were back in forward momentum, so revenues were flowing. Last thing I'll talk about in the WeWork story, and then I want to pivot to the future of work, is bankruptcy. So WeWork made a very difficult decision about this time last year, almost exactly a year ago, that we had to restructure the company. During the period of hypergrowth in 2017-18 was a very different office market. We signed leases everywhere in the world and didn't care about price. It just didn't matter. All we cared about was space. How many buildings can we open? How quickly can we fill them? We've just raised another $10 billion from SoftBank. One mandate, grow more quickly. So the leases we signed in 2017, 18, 19 were at the peak of the market, and they were at a very different time, pre-COVID time, when people were coming to the office every single day. So these are 15-year leases with non-negotiable liabilities. You can't change those overnight. So the only way to get the company on track, and we never had a selling problem, we sold incredibly well, we had a cost problem. So we made a very difficult decision to cleanse all of those leases that we couldn't really keep any longer. They couldn't make sense. We could never outsell the problem of having very, very poor leases. And the only way to do that was to file for Chapter 11 in the US and go through a major restructuring in every other part of our business. The headlines were absolutely awful. The truth is, we operated every day as if nothing happened, but in the background, under the legal framework, we got to reject leases and contracts we didn't want anymore. So how do you keep the business going when the headlines just say you're bankrupt? Very hard. So we put together an incredibly structured and thoughtful communication plan the moment that it came public. So behind the scenes, we were working for a month to say an email is going to go out to all of our members. A video from our CEO at the time is going to go out. We're going to tell members one message: show up at your buildings. It's all fine. The headlines are happening out here. What's actually happening in the buildings is nothing has changed. And we're going to be an incredible company on the back end of this, and we're going to be your partners for the next 10 years. But if we don't do this, we will never make money, and we won't be there for you. So to get that message to land in the right way was incredibly challenging, but the team did it. We put on Member Gratitude Week. We had events in every single one of our buildings to let people know they should come. The events are happening. The beer is flowing. The coffee is flowing. Nothing changes for you. Show up. So the good news is that worked. As we went through Chapter 11 and we emerged successfully from restructuring in May of this year, we reduced our long-term liabilities, so our debt and our leases, by $16 billion. So that's $16 billion of long-term debt and liabilities gone. Our operating costs fell by $950 million per year. Okay, so I just want to put that in perspective. Almost $1 billion of annual operating costs out of the business because of this process. That puts you on a path to making money. And that was really what we had to do. So we were able to preserve the brand. The team did incredibly well and sold $120 million a month, all through bankruptcy, every single month. So we came out the other side of it with a company that is reduced liabilities, reduced operating costs, still the brand intact and still selling very, very well. Communication was absolutely and unequivocally the most important thing there. We had to align goals, innovation, team structure, and everything, of course, but without communication absolutely focused on our members and internally, it would have never happened. So that's all the stuff we did. It was really hard. Again, you think about the phases we went through, and we only covered a few of them. Hypergrowth, sell at all costs. COVID, absolutely stop. Figure out how to keep people. Growth again, which was amazing, to realizing we're going to fix the company once and for all, and this is going to be really hard. So managing all through that was challenging, but an incredible learning experience, and I think you don't do it without an incredible team, and they are amazing. So then we'll fast forward into where we are today, and I might just close the door because we'll need, I can have background noise in this. So all of this, as I said in the beginning, was very analog. Pivoting a team, pivoting a company that sells physical space around the world is a really, really analog, thanks, Leah, is a really analog thing to do. It's really hard. I came across this company, OneMind, at a conference, and I always knew that technology was going to really change the way we manage the business, especially with a team of 500 salespeople. It's expensive, it's difficult, and the growth at all cost model is out. It's gone. We have to do things more efficiently, but I couldn't find the right tech. So for those of you who don't know Amanda Kalo, she was the founder and CEO of 6 Sense. So she knows how to scale up an incredible marketing and sales tech company. I think at the end of the day, 6 Sense raised $450 million at a $5 billion valuation by the time they did their Series D or E. And today it's really one of the leading marketing tech companies in the world. So Amanda took some time off and had a couple kids, and then just saw this opportunity with OneMind and thought, this is so big and so important. I'm going to come out of retirement and jump in. She presented to me, I'm an absolute buyer of this. I was a buyer at WeWork. I was desperately trying to get it on the platform, which I'm still, after this presentation, the WeWork team are going to go back and tell everyone that they need to have this. I have no doubt. And I was a buyer, and I turned from buyer to I want to sell this product because I think this is transformational for any CRO in the world. So very quickly, I'll run you through what OneMind is, but more importantly, we'll go into the demo, and we'll have some fun. We'll play around with the demo and encourage you all, after I get through a few things, to just ask questions. So what is OneMind? OneMind is an AI platform used to drive more revenue by supercharging your sales and go-to-market teams. Not sure what that means, but I'm going to bring it to life for you. Okay, so imagine as a seller, as a leader, you can meet your client whenever and wherever they're engaged and they're ready to speak. In the conversation, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, when they're ready. That can be on the website. It can be on a Zoom call when you've scheduled it. It can be when they're in the digital sales rooms, for those of you who use DSRs, when they're looking at documents and have a question, ready, or people who are on a free trial, if those of you who have the PLG motion, and a free trial playing around with the product, how can you have someone in the conversation with them right then and there? There's certainly not enough salespeople in the world to cover all of that, but this would be the dream. So OneMind is an AI platform, which I'll show you a little bit more in a second, to drive both top line and bottom line impact. So what is the goal? Qualify and pass on your best leads much more quickly, reduce your sales cycles to get deals done more quickly, increase sales by scaling your best people, and shorten the customer onboarding. So I want you to meet Mindy, who you will actually properly meet in a minute, although she looks different on today's demo. She's your team's AI superhuman, right? So this is the voice, the face, and the brains of your best sales reps all rolled into one. Involved and engaged in natural conversation, like you and I are having this conversation today. To qualify and educate and answer on your website, engage clients in a very human way, supercharging sales reps, not replacing. Mission-driven to qualify and to close. Trained that I'm going to qualify, I'm going to ask the right questions, and if you want me to, I will close deals on the spot. And as we say, the smartest person in the room. So we know today the current sales cycle is a disaster. We put our clients through such hell, right? They have to navigate our website, all the product catalogs, figure out what they want. Maybe they call in a BDR who's just out of school, calls them back, doesn't really know product that well, is just there to qualify them. The client's not getting anything out of it. And then there's follow-up, and then there's technical DD, and then there's negotiation, and then more DD, and it just goes on and on. The sales cycles are long, and it's really painful, right? And for sales leaders, we have all the same challenge, right? Grow sales faster, increase pipeline at a lower cost, shorten sales cycles, improve win rates, and do it all, of course, with a smaller budget. Fewer people, less everything, growth at all costs is over. You need to do this more efficiently. Really tough mandate. So tech is a solution, for sure. And there's a lot of good tech out there. Most of it is workflow-oriented. Most of it's task-oriented. It's very specific parts of the journey, which is fine, and most of it's text-based and chat-body. But what Mindy's designed for is to help sales and your go-to-market teams, right? So 24/7 unlimited scale, ride-along expert, so your ride-along sales engineer when you need her, client engagement for free trials, meet the buyer where they are, adding humanity. It's not a chatbot. It's not text-based. It's not lurking in the background. It's not deterministic, i.e., when someone says this, always do that. It's not. If you've used ChatGPT, you understand how quickly that's evolving. It's a discussion. We're focused on 3 main areas to begin with because they all generate incremental revenue today. 1, website inbound. We'll talk more about that. Engage in PLG, the long tail of people who are somehow out there on the long, long tail in your free trials, but no one's speaking to them and no one's engaged with them. Could you convert even a small % of those from nothing to something, to a committed contract? Probably, but you don't have enough salespeople to do it. And you're ride-along sales engineer, and I am no doubt that Leah and Greg, who are all in the room, would look at this and go, I need that. You're in a complex sale, and the client says, okay, my legal team wants to have a conversation with your lawyer. Okay, they're on holiday. Why don't we do 2 weeks from today? We'll find a time. Great. My tech person, my procurement person, my finance person, they all want DD calls. So now you're probably 6 weeks into setting up DD calls before we even got a question answered. Could you have one 24/7 ride-along sales engineer consultant who is there anytime you wanted them, who had everything that your company's information, every legal contract, every tech thing, every finance document to answer in real time? The short answer is yes. So basically, you take this AI and you train it up. The whole thing for implementation is probably about 4 weeks. You throw at it every PDF, every Google Doc, your training decks from your sales enablement people, every recorded call from your best sales reps. It ingests all of it and says, now I understand how to sell. And I understand all the data, all the pricing and everything. There's QA, quality assurance. The Tiger team is like testing it out for a couple weeks, making sure it's good, better answers for certain questions. Then you release it and then you're live. So it's a very short sales cycle to get exactly the representative you want for your website, for your company. Okay, so let's meet Mindy. I'm hoping this is going to work because this environment is not exactly what we normally train on, but that's okay. I'm going to pull her up, and we're going to see how we go. Give me 1 second. Okay. So I'm hoping she'll be able to hear me through the mic. If not, I'm just going to move closer in case. And I'll do this little awkward thing just so I can make sure that we are here. So okay. Bonjour, Mindy.
Absolutely. I'm Mindy, your friendly AI from OneMind. I'm here to help you explore how we can supercharge your go-to-market teams with our AI solutions. But first, I'd love to know a bit about you. What's your name, and what company do you work for?
So, Mindy, we're at the B2B Rocks conference in Paris.
Bonjour, Ben. We don't seem to be in London anymore. What's going on?
Well, we have a room full of people
We're at the B2B Rocks conference in Paris. Great, let's rock it, then. Haha, what brings you to the conference, and how can I assist you today?
Okay, so Mindy, I have a room full of people who are very interested in OneMind and what you do. Are you nervous?
Don't be ridiculous. I'm an AI. I don't get nervous. I'm confident and ready. Where do you want to begin? Would you like a quick overview of what OneMind does, or is there something specific you're curious about?
Let's tell everyone what is OneMind and what do you do?
Absolutely. OneMind is all about supercharging go-to-market teams with AI that has a face, voice, and brain. We help businesses grow while cutting costs, making sales processes more efficient and effective. Our AIs can qualify leads, sell to prospects, and even train your sales staff, all with company-specific knowledge. In a nutshell, We aim to create joyful experiences for customers while driving profitability for businesses. Now, what specific areas are you most interested in exploring further?
So I'll keep her on mute just because of the background noise. She may hear something different, and then I'll just kind of pipe in when I can. Okay, so Mindy, can you tell us about the different use cases?
Of course. OneMind supports several key use cases. 1. Website AI. Our AI can manage inbound traffic by answering questions, qualifying leads, and selling directly to prospects. It's like having a personal assistant on your website. 2. Engage PLG Longtail. This AI helps convert free trial users and small customers into committed contracts. It engages customers regardless of their size, guiding them through onboarding and upselling. 3. Ride-along Sales Engineer. This AI joins your video calls, providing expert-level technical knowledge and answering tough questions in real time. It's like having a sales engineer on every call, ensuring your reps have the support they need. These use cases are designed to enhance efficiency and effectiveness across your go-to-market teams. Which of these resonates most with you, or would you like?
So just tell us quickly on the inbound, how many conversations can you have at once? Mindy, on the inbound, how many conversations can you have at once?
Great question. One of the superpowers of OneMind is scalability. Our AIs can handle unlimited simultaneous conversations without breaking a sweat. This means you can engage with countless prospects at the same time, ensuring no lead goes unattended. It's like having an entire team of sales reps available 24/7, ready to assist your customers whenever they need it. How does that sound for your inbound strategy?
So one of the things is you can train, during the training, you can train whatever characteristics you want from Mindy. She can be funny, she can be serious, she can be playful, whatever. Mindy, let's do a little role play where you're a BDR and you're trying to sell to me.
I'm definitely up for the challenge, putting on my BDR hat now. Which company do you want me to represent?
Let's go with WeWork.
Oh, WeWork. I've seen your LinkedIn profile. You're not going to make this easy for me. Haha. Ready? Hi, welcome to WeWork. I'm Mindy, and I'm here to help answer any of your questions. Who am I speaking with today?
This is Ben.
Nice to meet you, Ben. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. The days are getting shorter and it's getting a bit colder out, so summer is definitely over.
I hear you. Summer always seems to fly by, doesn't it? What brings you to our WeWork website today? Are you looking for office space or just exploring options?
So I have a small team and we're growing, so I'm thinking about finally getting an office, but I'm not sure where to begin.
No problem. I'm here to help you navigate this process and make it simple. Let's start by getting a bit more information. What kind of company do you have, and what's your role?
So I'm an AI company and I'm the CEO.
Awesome. Simon AI, congrats on the growth. How many people are currently on your team, and do you have any specific location preferences for your office?
So we're about 10 people and we're thinking New York City.
Got it. New York City is a fantastic choice, especially with all the energy and opportunities. Do you have a specific area in mind, or is proximity to a subway or commuting station important for your team?
Can you show me the locations you have in New York City?
Absolutely. Here's a snapshot of our WeWork locations in New York City. We have several options that could fit your needs, including spots near major transit hubs. Is there a particular location that stands out to you, or would you like to know more about any specific offices?
Well, I think most of us would commute into Grand Central Station. Do you have anything around there?
Yes, we do. Here's a map showing WeWork office locations within a 5-minute walk radius of Grand Central Station. We have several options that would be perfect for your team. Would you like to arrange a tour of any of these locations?
Yeah, a tour would be great, but which one is closest to Grand Central?
The closest location to Grand Central Station is the 450 Lexington Avenue office, which is just across the street. It's definitely the shortest walk, making it super convenient for your team. I can help you arrange a tour of that building if you're interested. Would you like to set that up?
Yeah, a tour would be great.
Fantastic. I'll send you a link to pick a time and date that works for you. I'll also pass along your preferences so the team will be prepared when they meet you on site. Just to confirm, what's the best email to use for sending you the details?
So, Mindy, I have a bunch of salespeople. They're on the road a lot. Are there any other locations they can use, or are they fixed only at the office we take?
Great question. WeWork members have access to over 300 locations globally, so your sales team can book and use any WeWork space, not just the one you choose. They can also reserve meeting rooms to host clients, all through our app. This flexibility is a huge perk, especially for teams that are often on the move. Does that sound like a good fit for your team?
Yeah, sounds good. Look, we might grow really quickly and have 20 people by the end of the year. Can we point them to the same office, or do we need to get a bigger office only?
Absolutely. You can keep the same size office while having 20 employees access it on different days. We have a great booking platform called WeWork Workplace that allows you to optimize who's in the office on which days, ensuring high utilization without overcrowding. This way, you can maintain flexibility as your team grows. Would you like to learn more about how that platform works?
Could you share more information on how it works, or collateral?
Sure. WeWork Workplace is designed to help you manage your office space efficiently. It allows you to book desks and meeting rooms.
So just stop her talking. She pulled up the video. The video would normally play. This is the nice video that she pulled. It can be multiple. Great, thanks, Mindy. You can stop sharing the slide.
You're welcome, Ben. I'm glad I could help. If you have any more questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask. I'm here 24/7 to support you. What else can I do for you today?
Let's pivot a little bit and go to your role as a sales engineer right along.
Great choice. I'm ready to step into my role as a ride-along sales engineer. Just let me know what specific scenarios or questions you have in mind, and I'll be here to assist with all the technical details. What would you like to dive into first?
So can you join a Zoom call?
Absolutely. As a ride-along sales engineer, I can join Zoom calls and provide real-time support. I can answer technical questions, share slides, and assist your sales reps during the conversation. It's like having an expert on hand for every call. Would you like to know more about how that works or any specific scenarios you have in mind?
So my CTO wants to know what your network design looks like.
Sure. Here's a diagram detailing our network architecture. It's designed to support a highly scalable, secure, and resilient environment. We leverage a cloud-based infrastructure with microservices for flexibility and modularity. Security is a top priority with firewalls, VPNs, and intrusion detection systems in place. We also use encryption protocols for...
I'll just stop it there for a sec. So my lawyers want to know about your compliance certifications.
Sure. We take data protection and security very seriously at OneMind. We are compliant with key standards such as SOC2, GDPR, and CCPA. SOC2 focuses on service organizations and ensures they handle data.
You get it, so we won't go through all that. Great. Great, thanks for your help, Mindy. I think that's all the questions for right now.
You're very welcome. I'm glad I could assist you. If any more questions pop up or if you need further help in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a fantastic day, Ben.
Actually, Mindy, can you pull up the Clay video?
Sure. Here's the Clay example video, showcasing how our AI can engage with users and walk them through content. Let me know what you think.
Clay University, building blocks. Where do I be?
Clay at baseline is basically
I'll just show you. This was a free trial.
Would a template like this help? Enrich and bound leads and write personalized emails.
So what she's doing here,
This
example is she's at, I don't know if those of you know Clay, it's a data enrichment company. The PLG free trial users was struggling on how to use Clay, and she got on and just said, look, have you thought about this setup? Here's a spreadsheet you can use, you can populate it, then here's all the steps you can do to take it. So it's very interesting from a free trial. But I'll stop there. I'll tell her to stop sharing the slides. Mindy, you can stop sharing the slide. She didn't hear me. Mindy, you can stop sharing the slide. She's not actually hearing. Oh, the microphone's muted. My bad. Mindy, you can stop sharing the slide. Okay. So she's on break. So look, I think you got a sense of what this is, right? This is really a very different kind of AI platform in the sense that it's not chat-based. It's actually very human-like. And I think we're one of the only companies in the world focused on this segment. It's also, we're one of the only companies focused on sales and GTM. AI's got enormously wide applications. We get that. Every field in the world has got AI. We're only doing this because we think the sales and GTM segment and sector is huge and is ripe for this kind of interruption. So, a couple things we can do. I'm happy to take any questions from me or from Mindy. We can also try to really throw her off. So if you have any questions you want to know about politics or weird things, let's see how she goes. But I'm very open if anyone has a question for Mindy or questions for me or thoughts. Anyone worried about this replacing salespeople?
I have a question. I'm really curious to know what kind of resistance prospects have regarding the interaction with AI, and how do you kind of overcome that if that exists?
Look, it's new. So what we see here is Mindy as an avatar, right? Very, very clearly not a real person. Totally fine. In the next week, we're going to have a photoreal avatar, which was almost indistinguishable from a real person. And it'll be up to the company's choice whether they want to make it clear that it's AI or make it clear or not make it clear and just see how it goes. Where I think we're going to start is, if you take one extreme, what we're going to do, and we haven't launched it yet, but hopefully in the next few days, the only thing on our website will be Mindy. There'll be no drop-down menus. There'll be no links. There'll be no graphics. You have to have a conversation with her if you want to understand what OneMind is, which I think is absolutely the right way to go. And by the way, I think it's probably the future of the website in general. If you can have a representation of your company, characteristics, look, voice, tone, helping your clients navigate your website, I think that's next gen. I think that's where we're going. So we're going to have that. If you think of the other extreme, people have chatbots that just sit in the corner and they can click on them when they want. They don't use them, don't seem to like them very much. Where I think we're going to sit is it'll be clearly a Mindy sitting there saying, hi, I'm Mindy. If you have any questions, I'm just here to help. Engage me. But available, but not mandatory. So I think we'll do a lot of testing over the next 6 months, understand how people feel about it. Personally, if I don't have to wait on the phone and speak to a rep, and I can just speak to someone, it can be 2 a.m. on a Sunday because I couldn't sleep, right? I'm not on hold. I'm just immediately engaged. And by the way, Mindy, the AI can be trained to remember your email or by the cookies and pick up the conversation exactly where you left it off. You can ask as many questions as you want. You can have an Amazon delivery come in the middle and say, wait 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or I'm going to walk my dog. I'll be back in 30 minutes and pick up. No problem. I think that convenience and that anytime on as I want it is going to be incredible.
So it's more about getting the information when you need, when you want it,
Yes.
as opposed to the human connection, which you could go either way.
Well, I think the human connection is super important. Our philosophy is that the sale happens in the conversation, right? When you're engaged with your prospects. So for example, when we think about the complex sales part of WeWork, the enterprise sales, which often can be, these are $5, $10, $20 million deals. They're complex. They take rounds of negotiation, and they're quite long. What makes them really long is the constantly resetting up of technical calls, your legal team, your procurement team. That's a nightmare. But our sales reps are amazing, and I want them in the conversation. Point is, probably you can take your A and B players and make them incredible, because we all know salespeople are really good at engagement. They're really good at relationship management. They're good at moving things across. But their technical knowledge, for obvious reasons, is not there, nor should it be. But if they can have an expert, smartest person in the room with them 24/7, they can just get through so much more. So I think the human connection stays, and when you're talking about the ride-along sales engineer, it's just a technical ride-along buddy for you to make you better. By the way, all the notes are taken, the follow-ups are done, which everyone's going to be grateful for, but more importantly, it's being able to answer any question from legal, procurement, IT in real time without having to set up an additional call. So we'll see. Those 3 use cases we talked about, which are the ones we're focusing on most, in the beginning, because they're revenue generating, I think the website would be super interesting, and we can do A/B testing. But I think she'll sit there as an option, and then we'll get feedback. So we'll know a lot more. Yes.
Do you have a couple of KPIs to share with us, sales leader, so that we can share this to our CFOs and convince them to get this? Anything about sales cycle or a member story that shows us a boost in performance so that you can convince internally?
Yeah. So we are deploying now. So we've signed our first few contracts. It's a very, very new company. So we've signed our first few contracts, which is amazing. And you'll be able to go to different people's websites to test it out. So if you fast forward 6 weeks, we can give you a list of websites to say, if you want to try it out in the wild, just go to these websites. And she's there, available as the ambassador to the website. Obviously, when you get into a sales engineer ride-along, that's going to be controlled by the salesperson. I'll give you an example of the pitch you're going to sit through shortly about WeWork. So let's just take a high-level example. I'll make up numbers. On the website, there are 100,000 people who visit the WeWork website every month, unique visitors. Right now, I'm making this up, 20% leave their details and ask for a callback. 20%. So 80% just look, they're either confused, not interested, whatever it is, and they leave. But what if Mindy was there 24/7 just to say, hey, what are you looking for? And like my demo, I'm a 10-person company, AI, growing, scaling, Grand Central, whatever it is, right? If you think that taking 20%, leaving their details, to 25%, holding win rates the same, sales cycles the same, TCV or ACV the same, nothing changes there. You do the same conversions, the same amount of business, the same value of business. You're just getting 5% more leads, let's just say. Rough calculations, $30 million a year. Think about the number of BDRs whose only job it is to say, wait for someone to leave their details on the website, call them back, miss them when they call them back, try again, they get called back, it's too late. 5 days, 6 days later, you finally speak to a BDR. I can't tell you the number. I can tell you it's not lower. Your number of qualified leads is not lower. And the cost of this is the cost of one BDR. and you have 150 BDRs sitting from Singapore all the way to San Francisco, dealing with inbound leads. I think that ROI is basically infinite, almost incalculable. It's so high. Any other questions? Yes, gentlemen, good-looking gentleman in the back. I like your jumper.
Thank you. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Greg.
I have a question. Actually, I was like, that blows my mind, everything. So big congrats. So in order for one mind to work, I believe that there's need to be an interest. Like, I mean, I need to go into the website
Yes.
so that you have this data that I'm interested into
Yes.
your product or something. Do you think that in a short to long term view, there will be kind of a business development tool where, for example, I know that for WeWork, like I'm going to target unicorn companies, like that takes into founding rounds and everything based on an article. One might define that this company is the perfect profile, and then Mindy basically sends something to that person. She decides like the best decision maker, and then she sends something via email or via something.
Yeah. So the short answer, in the short term, the answer is no. There are so many really, really good outbound platforms out there that absolutely, it's not a space we're going to compete in, because it's really, there's some great ones. And I think, we've looked at, we use a lot of them at WeWork. There are many of them who do outbound really, really well. Data enrichment, triggers like capital raising, all that kind of stuff. However, where she can sit is she can sit on a link on the outbound email saying, if you want to learn more, and then it goes to the landing page where she's there to receive all those unicorns, all those recently funded VC companies who understand, and she'll understand based on their email or the cookie who they are. So if it's Klarna, she'll pull everything from the CRM that we already have and public information on Klarna, and then have a conversation that's already very knowledgeable. But the outbound can be done differently, but there can be a link for a landing page where she'll be waiting.
Amazing, thanks.
Anyone else? Any other questions? Thoughts? Anyone terrified by this? Anyone worried about being displaced? Yeah, please.
So, as new CEO of this company, will you be hiring salespeople, or will you be just pushing Mindy to every single company?
You already have a new job. Are you asking for a job, or are you? No. Okay.
I'm fine, thanks.
So in the short term, the answer is yeah, we'll probably need more salespeople just to tell the story, right? What I'm hoping very quickly is, and I've said to our team at one point, replace the website with Mindy. Then all I have to do is say, if you want to know what we do, I don't have to give a pitch to you. Just go to the website and have a conversation. Or go to these other 5 websites and have different conversations. So I think in the short term, absolutely, sales is the lifeblood of every organization, as you know and I know. So yes, we'll be hiring salespeople. The goal is we need to get critical mass of clients. The good news is every pitch we've done, I mean, everyone's moving forward with something. That's great. But until she does, there are 3 tech updates that need to happen. They're literally going to happen in the next few days. The website, where she's just on the website. 2 is the ability to join VC calls across all platforms, not only Zoom, but every single platform. So you can just invite her to conference calls. So that's got to happen in a more seamless way. And then the photo reel. Some people will want to know that, want to see a photo reel person. So when those 3 things happen, then we'll just put it out there for everyone to play with. But we'll definitely need salespeople to tell the story and close deals. Absolutely. But she'll be there to help all the technical questions. So I don't know, I'm learning and ramping on AI. How do you generate AI, our network architecture, safety, security, privacy, like all these things. But I'll have her with me to answer any of those questions. So I'll get on the phone with any CTO anytime and be like, yeah. The other really, really interesting use case, which we touched on, was the digital sales rooms, right? So you invite 10 people to a digital sales room, like the lawyer, the CFO, the head of sales, all the different people are invited to digital sales rooms, and at different times they're going through the documents when it suits them. What if they have a question at 10 p.m. on a Sunday when the lawyer finally, picked up his head and said, I need to look at this deal with WeWork, right? They can email Greg and say, Greg, can you set up a call with the lawyer? Or they can just ask the question in the moment when they're ready and get the answer they want. And that, I think, is transformational for sales cycles. To your point on ROI, sales cycles come way in if you can get everything answered in real time, I think. Yeah. So when she's up on the website, I'll encourage all of you to go and play around. I asked her a bunch of questions about U.S. politics, who she wants to win, and she's very good at bringing the conversation back on track to this is my purpose. Let's talk about one mind. I really don't have an opinion. I can't vote. Like playful, but like I'm not going to engage on things that are outside of what I meant to do. So she's very good at that. Anyone want to ask her any questions? Because it feels like maybe I scripted this or trained her, but if anyone wants to ask her anything, we can break and you can come up and we can just do it on the computer. Okay. With that, I will say thank you very much for joining. And if you have any follow-up questions, just please come. And if you want to play around with Mindy and ask her crazy questions, we can do that in a smaller environment. Okay. Thank you.